we need to talk. There's been a common misconception going around for as long as the martial arts have been around that the number of degrees of black belt you have matters at all. It doesn't. Now, you might say something like, well, Sensei Kyle, you're just saying that because you only have first dans. And you're right, I do, but I have a few first dans that I've collected over the years. And I've trained with many second degree, third degree, eighth degree. I've trained with 10th degree, which is the grandmaster of the style. And I'm telling you definitively, it does not matter at all. Some people think that the degree of the black belt is sort of a multiplier of black belts, right? So if you are a second degree black belt, that must mean you have double black belt experience, skill, or even time. This is not true. Now, I can only speak to my experience personally. However, I have been to all kinds of dojos. I've trained in many styles with many senseis. I've trained with old school guys, Goju-ryu. I've trained with competitive WKF, Shito-ryu people. I've trained with Kyokushin fighters. I've trained with the Green Power Ranger. Okay, go check that out. In my experience, the degrees of black belt have never pointed to how good someone is. If anything, it's only a measure of time spent. What happens a lot of times is it's not when you have doubled your understanding or you've become a new level of martial artist that you get these tests or degrees or belts. It's often one of the following. Oh shit, my instructor hasn't been promoted in 2 years. I really need them to work for me. And I want to keep them engaged. So I'll give them a new belt, right? Gives them a little achievement, gives them incentive to keep going, right? To stay around, to continue working. A lot of times, black belts will leave dojos as soon as they achieve the rank because they think that's the end of their journey. It's not. It should be the beginning, right? When you get a black belt, all that means is that you have learned the curriculum. It doesn't say that you are the best or even good. I've also never once seen or experienced a belt test when I or someone else was ready for it. Not when it was the true time, not when it was when they achieved something or had the epiphany and grew by leaps and bounds, right? Broke through a plateau. No. Most often it's when it's convenient, right? Like I had my black belt test scheduled for the summer around June, but the sensei that was going to test me was having a tournament in March. And they really needed more black belts to fill out the bracket. So I got tested early. I got tested on things that were not supposed to be part of the curriculum. A lot of last minute changes. This was not about testing me. This was about getting it done so that I could be a black belt, compete as a black belt, get out of the divisions that I was completely smoking everyone in. I mean, I won gold in everything and I won grand champion my first black belt competition. So really it didn't matter. But a lot of times it's not even a tournament, but let's say the head of the style is retiring or passed away, right? Then his belt gets passed on to the next person and then they go, oh, I'll just hand mine to the next guy, right? And everyone gets promoted because some guy had a heart attack, some guy quit. There is a case to be made for when a grandmaster dies, and as long as, in my opinion, the heir to the style was named, had full understanding of the style, and was already teaching at or near the grandmaster's level, then yes, I believe that person, because they are the new grandmaster, they must take the highest rank because no one else in the style knows more than they do, has a greater understanding or more experience. That is appropriate. However, that should not trigger a cascade of belts all down the line. Now, I've seen black belts that were 12 years old that didn't know a goddamn thing. I've also seen black belts, almost always in Japan, that were 8 or 9 years old, and they absolutely deserved the black belt. Again, the black belt is not a title of mastery. It is the beginning. It means you have finished the curriculum. It's like graduating high school, right? Just because you graduate high school doesn't mean you are the CEO of a company, you're the most successful. That's where you start. And the kids in Japan, particularly, and other places probably, that have these black belts, they perform the curriculum perfectly. Perfectly. Not like me, not like you, perfectly. And they deserve those black belts. And at that point, the degrees might actually point to new levels of mastery. Maybe. Not all training is equal. So if you spend 1 year with an Olympian, right, with all the best coaches, or like, the state sponsors athletes and that's your only job, right? That's different than the person who's just been around for 10 years and just got belts eventually kind of through osmosis. Those people are not equal. Belts don't really determine the skill of a person. All it determines is the speed at which they were promoted in their school. In Muay Thai, they don't have belts because they don't care. It's not about what you wear. It's about who you can knock out. And that's it. And that's how it should be in karate. That's how it used to be. It didn't matter. There wasn't as much ceremony around this stuff. It was just fight, improve, get better. Black belts did not need encouragement or incentive to continue training. If you've gotten to the point of black belt and your school is halfway decent, your incentive should be that you love it. Your incentive should be to master, fine-tune all of the brute skills you have accumulated over the years. People are very impressed by the number of degrees of black belt, again, because they think it's a multiplier. It isn't, okay? And if someone hangs on that, relies on that, I'm a 5th degree black belt, that means I'm better than you. Prove it. I've trained in traditional styles, competition styles, blended American karate styles. I've seen blue belts that could kick the ass of people that have trained me directly, people that owned dojos and schools. In fact, at the last dojo I was at, we had 2 guys come in that were yellow belt, which is rank 2. It's right after white belt. They wiped the floor quite literally with all of us. All of us. The only person that could stand half a chance was Sensei. And that's only because he had years and years and years of training at lightning speeds. These guys were monsters, like 6'6" each, and natural athletes. But they only trained sparring. They only fought. They didn't do katas, which means they did not progress, which means they did not get new belts. It didn't matter. They went to every tournament and wiped the floor, again, literally sweeping people, them hitting the floor. I'm including myself in this. Over and over and over. And it was easy for them. It was easy. You could tell they were bored. And they stopped competing because they just won everything. It's not fun. I can tell you from experience, I've gotten gold in every single kata competition I've done. It gets boring. What is the point if I don't have to struggle, right? If I don't have to prepare and I can show up and clown on everybody, people that have been black belts for years and years when I just got mine yesterday, I don't think it matters. No, I know it doesn't matter. And now you know that it doesn't matter. All that matters is what you can do or what you can teach. Now, there are the belts that you have, right? 2nd degree, 3rd degree black belt. There are different belts to denote your title as a teacher, right? Sensei is teacher. Then you have Renshi, which is like distinguished teacher. And then you have Kyoshi, which is highly distinguished, like a professor. Then you have Hanshi. And there's only one Hanshi, that is the 10th degree, usually the grand master of the style, the head of the lineage. Those are better indicators of, again, not even ability to fight, just ability to teach well. You get your black belt, that's your diploma. Then it is time for you to explore, right? Explore your technique, get deep into the weeds, write a thesis, right? That is the time for college, postgraduate, master's degree stuff. There's still so much more learning. And then career development beyond that. Black belt is the beginning. And if you need incentive beyond black belt and you're not a 12-year-old, then I would really look hard at yourself and ask yourself why you're doing it. Are you doing it for the belts? Because you can buy one off Amazon. They're like 25 bucks. Buy one with 10 stripes on it and start your own style today, right? The moment you start a new style, no one understands your karate better than you do, right? Because you haven't taught anyone. So that makes you the grandmaster. That gives you the 10th degree. So if I went to karate for 3 days and then I made my new style, I could be a 10th degree black belt. It wouldn't mean a goddamn thing, though. As we've seen in MMA and all of the combat sports that have evolved over the last few years, where you come from, the color of your gi, your belt, doesn't matter. What matters is that you can show up on the day and produce. If you cannot rise to the occasion, which nobody rises to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. So whatever your training is at, that is your true level, not the belt you wear, okay? Karate Kid put one over his head, right? Did a crane kick, and then he's teaching Miyagi-Do on the Netflix show, okay? Those kids, and if you'll notice, actually, small aside, if you watched Cobra Kai, you'll notice that all of them are white belts until the tournament, and then they're all black belts. Exactly. And they still suck. Sorry, but they're not karateka. They suck. Okay? But they have black belts. It doesn't matter. It's a belt. Half the reason we have the belt is to hold your pants up. So pull your fucking pants up, put the belt on, and train. Like you care about the training, not about the belt. And if you have any problem with what I've said, if you disagree at all, then you can't fight.